Hello, listen up, meow. Hello, my name is Lindsay Halligan. I am a avid cat enthusiast. I'm also an attorney, but that's not as interesting as cats. I'm happy to introduce today's session. Jackson Galaxy speaks cat. And the most amazing thing about that is cats understand what he's saying. A cat behaviorist with more than 15 years of experience and the host of Animal Planet's hit show, My Cat from Hell, Galaxy specializes in helping individuals whose out-of-control cats are turning their lives and homes upside down. He currently sits on the board of directors for Stray Cat Alliance and Fix Nation in Los Angeles, as well as the board of advisors for neighborhood cats in his hometown of New York City. In Catify to Satisfy, simple design solutions for creating a feline-friendly home, Galaxy teaches cat guardians everywhere how to design their homes in a way that solves common cat behavioral problems. After this, you can all feline up over there in the autographing line for a book signing. So everybody, put your paws together for Mr. Jackson Galaxy.
Put your paws together. I haven't heard that one before. Hi, guys. I literally just walked in here. It was raining. I walked in, and here I am. This is great. I'm going to take a second and just sort of orient myself. Cool. Good. Well, hi. Cat people of Miami. Nice to see you guys. I feel a little, like, official here. I wish I could move around. Is there another mic that there we go. Because right here I feel like I should be talking about climate warming. And I'll talk until further notice. Cool? Aha! There we go, the mobile Jackson Galaxy app. Cool. Well, now it's good to see. See, that was a little too much for me. So, just a little show of handy thing so I get where I'm at here. If you got cats? Well, you think it's a funny question. You know how many people walk up to me in the street, they're like, I really hate cats, but I like your show. And that's somehow like this, entree into a conversation. It's kind of weird. Okay, now, if you happen, did you adopt? Yes? Most of you? Yes, fantastic. If you happen to volunteer in rescue, if you foster, you go out there and you trap animals. Everyone who didn't raise their hand, look at the people who did and talk to them later. Because these are amazing people. If you don't know my story, about 20 years ago this week actually, I started working in an animal shelter in Boulder, Colorado, and just walked in there, literally was like, I need a job. I was a musician, which meant that I had no money at all. And I needed a job. I was sick of working with humans, and I figured, that way I'll scoop poop all day, and it'll be fine. I'll just think of music all day. I'll be inspired and hang out with animals. I grew up with dogs. One dog, and I had cats in my life, but it wasn't, I wasn't that child. I wasn't like that 7-year-old child who was like, Mom, Fluffy spoke to me, like it wasn't there. I didn't have that kind of like with cats. And once I started working at the shelter, we had this room where during lunch breaks we'd bring cats in, because at that point, the rescue world was 100% cage. We didn't have what we have now, which is we're moving towards sort of an open floor plan with adoptions. So back then it was just cages. So we would take a bunch of the cats out of the cages, and we would let them roam around us in this room while we ate our lunch. And the cats would just come to me, be sitting there, and it was like I had like a treat in my pocket or something, and just come to me. And then it actually became this joke with my coworkers. They started calling me Cat Boy, which 20 years later, I know if I haven't seen you in a long time, they're like, oh my God, Cat Boy, I'm like, no, Cat Daddy now. But anyway, the thing about working in an animal shelter back in those days, and to a degree still now, is that when opportunity presents itself to you, and there are a lot of animals coming through those doors who don't leave, you think, whatever it is that is going to get those animals out walking, you're gonna do. So, cat boy, cool, I'm cat boy, The cats say, we pick you, I'm like, cool, I'm with you, let's get to work. What are you? What do you do? How do you do it? And I just read, which if you know me, it's amazing. I hate reading. And I read books. And I talked to anyone else who was in the field at that point, which, I count on my one hand. And then I just hung out with them. I watched them. And, my background is as an artist. I was, a musician my whole life, a songwriter. I went into performance art. I was one of those guys running around the stage with a diaper on my head kind of guy. But the thing is, with the background in performance and in writing and the arts, I come at the science of behavior in a much, much different way. It's more about this idea that I want to make sense of you. In the same way that if you were walking in the park right now, I would watch you, watch how you walk, what you're wearing, what you're looking at, what draws your attention, and I just come up with a story in my head of what your day has been like up until now. And that's what I did with cats. And lucky for me, it kind of worked, But, the greatest thing about working in that shelter at that time was if you come up with a theory, or someone else comes up with a theory, and you feel like, bastardizing that theory or doing whatever, you've got 100 willing participants, and you get to test that theory. That's how the whole thing with, if you've seen the show, you've probably seen me blinking at cats. And it's, by the way, it's a beautiful thing, because there's a lot of blinking going on now. People have really gotten into the blink. And by the way, if you see me in the street, totally come up to me and say, don't blink at me, because it's weird. It's a weird feeling to be blinked at. So don't do that. But anyway, I had read about the whole blinking thing. If anybody had, if there's water, behind you. If I can just do this. Nice, thank you. My friend now, back then, just an author, Nietzsche Fraser wrote an amazing book called The Natural Cat. If you haven't gotten that book, get that book. It should be in everyone's library. It was an amazing thing, because Nietzsche was one of those people too, who just, because it was the Wild West, because there were no rules, she just wrote her own. And she's an incredibly wacky, cool person. She was a behaviorist in New York City. She would just ride her bicycle like Margaret Hamilton style up and down the Upper West Side of New York and just go to do her cat consults. And she discovered this technique walking down the streets of New York, looking at the cats at the brownstones. And she had recognized, as I think a lot of us did, we've all stumbled on this, I think, at one point, that the cats were just slowly blinking at her. And she started to decode what that was about. And it's an amazing gesture, actually. It is that moment where cat comes to meet us at that communicative fence and says, I will be vulnerable to you, And they do this, and we do it back to them. I discovered the glory of the blink in that shelter. There's a chapter in my book, Cat Daddy, where I talk about that night. That night I call it the 45 Kisses. That night where it was like this. It was storming like crazy in Boulder, Colorado. There was a drought going on at the time, so we weren't used to it, nor were any of the animals. And our shelter was a real beater. I mean, that place was done. It was done years before I got there. And it was the kind of place where we'd rush around with the buckets, to catch the rain. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I was preparing a presentation for the next day. I was the community outreach manager at that point. And I could only work at 1 o'clock in the morning. If you're getting the gist of how I think and speak. I got the worst ADD in the world. And I figured it's quiet, I don't have to deal with anything. And because of the thunder and the lightning, my office butted up against the cat intake area. So any cat that was coming in, whether owner surrendered or whether they were stray or feral or whatever it was, They wound up in that room, nursing mothers, the whole thing. And they were screaming. All of them were screaming because of the thunder and the lightning. And so there was nothing I was going to get done that night. It was a bust. So I figured, why not? Let's go in there and let's, the mad laboratory, let's go in there and blink. Let's see if I can calm these guys down. Do I hear a cat? Where the hell's that come? Wendy? Seriously. No, it's Wendy's bottle baby is here. Just don't look at the bottle baby. It's fine. You're among friends. Don't even stress it at all. We accept it. Wendy, the beautiful foster mom and her bottle babies. We love you. So anyhow, that was going on times 50, 45 actually. There were 45 cats in that room, and they were screaming. And long story short, Wendy, you do not have to leave. It's cool. Yeah. So anyhow, by about 4 o'clock in the morning, it worked. 45 cats sleeping, and it was still really coming down in buckets out there. And it was that moment that it was one of those aha moments, but not in the way that you would think it is. You think that when your life takes that turn and the clouds part and the angels sing, it wasn't like that. I was like, I want to be a rock star, man. I don't want to be a cat guy. But it was this beautiful moment where the cats let me know that I had stumbled on something. And from that day on, I was cat boy, and haven't looked back since. And that was 18 years ago or something like that. The thing that I found so amazing about we can encapsulate it in that blink, because the thing is, the cats are so, to the majority of the world, other. They're just so, we don't get them at all, which for good reason. They have nothing to do with the human experience at all, for the most part. I mean, if you take away the last 100 years or so, they were just working members of our farms. They did what they did for 150,000 years. They killed stuff. They just went out there and they hunted like sons of guns, and they just kept our food from being tainted, and we were like, cool, stick around. Fine. Me and you, we're good. As long as I don't die from eating these things and you get your fill, we have a working relationship. And it was literally it was like 120 years ago. I love this story. Queen Victoria was one of the first cat people, right? She said, well, I want you in my house. I want you, to curl up with me. I like you, really like you. And because I'm your queen, you will like them too. 120 years ago, you think about what a blip, like a blink in the timeline that is, right? And here we are, a blink later, like this much later, getting totally ticked off at our cats because they will not crap in a box, right? We're like, here, do this here, Cats like, this is not what. Do you know what a huge favor, what a miracle it is that they go anywhere near that box? That's incredible. But the thing is, our language, as opposed to dogs, right? We took them out of the wild. We co-evolved with these guys. We bred them because we said, I like that. That tail wag thing, do more of that, Yeah, do that. The part where you worship the ground I work on, totally do more of that. And then you fast forward and there they are. They're our best friends. They, and hey, by the way, I love dogs. I have 2 dogs at home. I know it really kind of weirds, the hardcore cat people out, which I find, I'm on a mission to make the world, bipedal. I think it's something that we need to do. I mean, let me just tell you something. Do you think, by spending my whole life working with cats, you don't think it's a nice thing going home to dogs who care that I'm home? Like I go out to get the mail and I come back in, one of my dogs, I had a little puppy, I come back in, the puppy's like, oh my God, I thought something happened to you, Oh my God, I'm so happy you're okay. And she had just run over all of the cats, to get to me. And they got that look on their face like, this is why I hate dogs, right? But that energy, that yin yang, cats with that sort of beautifully detached moment-to-moment love, and dogs who are like anything but detached, you know, they're attached, they are on you at all times. It's a beautiful energy, but that's the thing. When you look at the world through dog-colored glasses, of course cats are failures, you know? But that's I mean, that's lesson number one in the world of Cat Mojo, that cats are not just like sarcastic dogs. They are their own thing, you know? And they're their own thing that has little to do with any of this, right? They are just amazing hunters. Queen Victoria was like, come on in. They came on in. She's like, by the way, don't, you know, scratch the Victorian drapes. You know, don't, grab it in a box, you know? And that's why, when we look at them now, there is such a level of disconnect, you know, in that moment. So now, getting back to that blink, let's get back to that blink for a second, because I want you guys to start thinking about this cat, your cat right here, and that umbilical cord that stretches all the way back to their ancestors, all the way back, you know? There is a very strong tie. We haven't changed them, which I found, yeah, I find that one of the most lovely things about being with these guys, is that in order to be with them, it's like, I have to, you know, pass an initiation to get into the club, kind of thing. I like that. I like that, you know, we're reminded that our lives with animals are not just about us calling the shots. I like that. I know a lot of people don't, though, and that's why I have a job. But anyway, the reason why I think that we have gotten to that point where you see the people on my show, which is like, you know, getting divorced because of the cat, which, by the way, is not a lie. That's not TV. Those are people getting divorced because of the cat. But that's a part of that disconnect, you know? That's a part of that because we don't get them, because they're this emotional blank slate to us, we project all kinds of stuff on them. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Like the worst parts of ourselves on a bad day, right on that cat, you know? Because they're just, yeah, I mean, come on. Everyone's had that day. You had that day where, like, you know, you get up in the morning and the second, like, what's the worst? Okay, you get up, because this happened last week. You get up in the morning and you step right and throw up, right? Like, right in between the toes. Everyone's done it. You know it's happened to you. And then, but that gets you in that place, right? And then the next thing that happens, you're picking a fight with your husband or your wife or whoever because they didn't clean it up before you got there. Now you're getting into a fight. And then, you know, you leave the house, you're late because now you got to clean up the puke. And then you leave the house and you're rushing to work and like, oh, now you get a speeding ticket because you're rushing to work. You get to work, your boss just completely, you know, just completely just rips you apart. And now your whole day is like that. You're on your way home. The fight, of course, continues that you started in the morning about to throw up. And then you go in the kitchen and the cat's sitting there like this. And you're like, what? What is it? I put a roof over your head. I go broke at the vet, and with the food, by the way. I let you curl up under this thing with those long nails. I mean, what more do you want from me? Cat's like, hungry, or whatever. I'm just hungry. But that's the kind of thing that leads right down. I have seen, as a shelter worker, and anybody else who's worked at a shelter has seen it happen, where that point of, oh, my best buddy, to that cat being in my shelter is like, you know? Because it's so easy through that projection and through that lack of knowledge to just allow that bond to just disappear, you know? And that's why I do my job, you know? I mean, I think we all in this room would have the same commitment to stop the killing of animals in shelters, right? Which, by the way, we're getting there. We will get there. And we're a lot closer than we were. A lot closer than we were. I mean, I'm not just an optimistic person. I'm an optimistic person because I got a reason to be. I mean, we still got a lot of work to do, but man, it's a good time to be involved in rescue right now. It's a really good time. It's payoff time, you know? But, well, I don't know where the hell I just went with that. It just went off. But that's that ADD I was telling you about. But it's a good time. And the thing is that I can do what I do, and as long as I can, it's so funny, when my cases end for the most part. The way I know that it went well is I give you that homework and I give you that, and you go, really, that's it? You know, huh, I could have thought of that. That's it, exactly. You could have thought of that. You didn't because you didn't have the cat glasses on. You had the dog glasses on or whatever the glasses on. Now you got your cat glasses on, you can see it fine. I can leave you guys, whatever happens tonight. If the cat still pees in the corner tonight, it's cool. You can step away from the emotion of the moment because now you get it. You get why that happened in the first place. Let's go all the way back, by the way, now to the blink. I actually had a point. The point was that that blink is symbolic of all the things that we can learn about that, what I call the raw cat, right? Because think about what an amazing, right now you're just thinking, what, it's a blink. You look at the cat, you go like this, For an animal that's a prey animal, right? These animals are amazing hunters, but they are smack in the middle of the food chain. There's always something bigger than them ready to eat them out there. So they're always in that constant state, that constant ready state. You know, there's no accident why they call it a cat nap. A cat nap is sleeping with one eye open, right? Always ready. So when that animal comes to a being that could very easily be, you know, dangerous to them, and closes their eyes to that being, that's a huge compliment. We call it the cat I love you. It's that I'm vulnerable to you. I trust that you are not going to eviscerate me in this moment. That's what that is. That's huge, you know? You see how these little moments, because we understand so little about them, are so big, you know? So then we start thinking about problem behaviors, right? The aforementioned peeing in the corner thing, right? Listen, I've done it too. I'm not pointing fingers, right? Well, I am, but I can afford to now. But that pee in the corner, what we fail to do, because like I said, we're so wrapped up in this incredible dynamic, this push-pull with these guys. Let's forget the corner. Cat pees in your shoes, right? Again, it's happened to a lot of you I know right now. You're like this. Cat pees in your shoes. Now, let's think about it if we were actually thinking like parents in that moment, right? Because we're not. What happens is, whether you're thinking it or you say it out loud, you go, why did you do this to me? Why did you do this to me? What have I put a roof over your head, you know, that whole thing. And you go crazy about the fact that your cat is disrespecting you. That they have done something against you and they hate you. I just find out he hates me. Hates my boyfriend. He hates. I don't know if you've ever seen the episode where the cat was throwing up and that woman was like convinced that it was revenge. Like the cat didn't like her, and so the cat would pick her clothes to throw up on. Amazing. People can be amazing. Anyway, so by the way, the end of that was, you know, do you ever consider the cat might like you? Oh, that's absurd. No, like maybe the cat's just got a bad stomach, right? And maybe she just likes to be on your clothes because it smells like you, and then she gets sick. You ever think of that? Oh, you know, there's that big. Anyway, so cat pees in your shoes and you get all angry at the cat. Now, let's turn this around. Let's say this was our human child at that moment, right? Let's just think of an equivalent. Your human child, a very peaceful little child, you know, goes to school one day, you get a call from the principal's office that your kid just beat the hell out of someone else. Just a bloody pulp. Never happened before. What are you going to do, right? Why did you do this to me? No, you're going to say, what's wrong? What is it? I'm your parent. What's wrong? This is scaring me, right? But when the cat pees in our shoes, it's why'd you do this to me? There's something wrong with your cat. Right? They've never peed in your shoes before. They've never shown this kind of behavior before. And this is how, I mean, honestly, the reason I'm going through all this is because I want you to take a step away from the cat and start looking at your relationship in a different way. Now, you guys are obviously cat lovers, cat people. I'm not just telling you, I'm telling you so you can tell the other friends of yours and family members who might be a little more on the fringe. We're trying to get them pulled in to the cause of cat, you know, a little bit. But we're trying to get them to understand that this is a cry for help. You know, cat does something like that. Number one, they're sick, right? We want to get them to the vet, make sure it's not a urinary tract infection or some reason why your cat would go to the litter box. And remember, they don't have that level of cognition to say, ow, my body hurts. What they'll say is that place hurts, right? And they'll just stop going to that place. Why would I go to that place? It's like if I stick my finger in the electric socket, I can do it me, like 10 times. But I'm not gonna do it 11 times, because, I'm semi-intelligent. The cat would do the same thing. I'm not gonna, keep going in that place that hurts me. So that's number one that we want to look at. But number two, when we start thinking again about our raw cat, about our ancestral cat, that level of territorial insecurity, where they're basically like, I don't trust this environment at all, so I have to do something you've never seen me do, that means that something in your territory is absolutely freaking them out. Now, we have a new way of looking at this. It's not as simple as, I don't know, for whatever reason you don't like me today and you're going to pee in my shoes where you've never done it before, But it's amazing because I've never seen a relationship with another animal where humans can get so knotted up around them, And I wouldn't have a job right now if it weren't for the fact that at the shelter, I came up with the bright idea that, because we would get the calls, I'm done with my cat, I'm done. Peed in my shoes for the last time, peed on the pool table the last time, I put a roof over her head, blah, blah, blah. She's coming to your shelter. And once they're there, they're there. Well, what if when they call me, I go to your house and get you to step away from the cat, and talk you through it, and try to make a little bit of sense. The exact same thing that you see 20 years later on the show is what I did. And the cats stopped coming in, It was amazing. And then we would do it the other way, after adoptions, about a week later, I would call or go to the house, and sometimes you get that little peak of trouble. You peed on the pool table for the first time. I can't handle this, and we would talk through it, the cat wouldn't come back, But that didn't ever happen with dogs, right? We would work through those problems, It's funny, I'm going off on this riff about this because I deal with it every day, and it's still this thing that just fascinates me. How humans and cats, think about this. Oh my God, I'm going off right now. But think about this. Think about our history with these guys, right? Yes, we had the ancient Greeks, right? Deified them, mummified and put in the pyramids, and they were gods, literally. And then, same animal, fast forward, and they're being burned at the stake for being witches. Or they're being completely eradicated in the Middle Ages because we thought that they were the reason the Black Plague existed, which, of course, was completely backwards. Cats have been going like this, like bang, like this with us the entire ride together. And it's because of what I've been talking about. It's fascinating to me. It really is. And so the thing that I would really love for you guys to take away, bring back to your cat, number one, is that moment of stepping away and being a journalist with your cat. A journalist meaning it's as if you were walking into a situation that you don't own and just taking notes. Just literally observing the way I did back then. As if I was studying them because I'm an actor and I'm going to inhabit this role. Same thing. What is the body language telling you, A good example, the tail tells you so much about a cat. When they walk into a room, just the angle. Now dogs make it easy for us, right? With the wag. Cats make it exceedingly hard for dog people because that wag is not the wag, Cat wagging their tail is basically, step away from the cat, But the angle tells you everything, right? They walk in the room, straight out like this. It's just almost like a rudder. They're sitting here getting a feel. They don't trust what's out there, so they're just feeling. The whiskers are doing the same thing in that moment too, feeling everything. Ears, the hair that comes out of it, every bone in the body is just taking the temperature, literally and figuratively. If the tail is down lower, of course it's almost like dogs in that way, right? Where they start to go towards the tuft there, and that's just fear, levels of fear. The further down it goes, the more scared I am, And then you've got, now this is the cat that I call the mojito cat. Like the king of all cat mojo is boom, like that. They walk in the room and it's like that backwards question mark, right? And it's almost like a little periscope up here. And they walk in, and that is accompanied by chest held high, right? And let's go back to the raw cat for a second, right? Because all the tools that they have at their disposal can come to bear at that moment, for better or for worse, right? So if they come into a room, and let's say their ears are pinned back to their head, right? Now, let's take a look at the raw cat for a moment. That cat in the wild, cat who will not blink because they don't want to die. They will pin those ears back. Why? Because I feel like something really bad is going to happen, and I would rather not have my ears ripped off. So I'm going to plant them to the back of my head. Not a great sign if a cat looks at you and, does that, right? Or their eyes, right? Their peripheral vision. A cat's peripheral vision is bananas. I mean, basically almost like an owl. You see really pretty far behind them. Again, just over the generations, honing this fight or flight in how it's manifested in their physicality. So the way they do that, of course, is widening the pupils, those cannonball pupils, right? So again, cat comes in, cannonball pupils, they're looking for an escape, Again, not a great sign. Or the opposite, they're focusing in on you because they want to kill you. Something I'm well acquainted with. And it's that opposite, that pinprick of a pupil. I'm looking only at you. My ears are looking at you. My whiskers are looking at you. I have got you in my sights, right? That is Hunter Cat. Actually, I'm making him into Barry White right now. But, hey, baby. Been a long day. Anyhow, so, that can be for better or for worse, but now that you're attaching that ancestral cat to this moment, just them walking into a room, if you as journalists, not you as parent, or you as, hey, don't throw up in my stuff, but just as taking notes, you attach those lines, and now this appreciation for who these guys are and how they interact in our homes really starts to take flight. The last thing I'm gonna tie back into this, because of course this is what the book is about, the second book in this series, which by the way, there was no plan on writing a second book in this series. It was written because as soon as we finished it, put it out there, everyone was like, hey, you forgot something. Here's my thing. This is what I built. They came from all over the world. And also, there was also the, hey, you forgot to talk about XYZ. And so all of that stuff is included in there. But one of the things that I find, like the most brilliant to me, is just watching cats move around space, but watching once you start providing the vertical world to them, how that changes the game completely. And that's a lot of what we put forward in this book. We did it in Catification as well, but Kate and I have spent a lot of time devising, what we call cat urban planning. Is Wendy still in here? Now, Wendy, our foster bottle, but baby mom over there, was actually one of my first clients down here who allowed me to completely, take her house apart and put it back together again with much trust and love, which was great because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But, where she had 5 cats. No, how many at that time? Wow, that was a while ago. 5 cats, much mayhem, much strife, and by taking apart how we can modify, her smallish house, no offense, then we could give these cats ways to get around each other, to regard one another without being threatened by one another. Because it's what I call the Mayberry effect. Like, if you don't have your cat superhighway and multiple lanes of traffic so all your cats get, then you got the Mayberry effect. So when they're coming at each other, it's that one lane, dirt road, Mayberry thing, and you've got the bread truck, and you got the cop car, and someone's going in the ditch, and that, does that make any sense at all? Okay, good. And so that's what we want to try to avoid. Cats coming at each other, and then they have that moment, that stare down, that stop, because bad things happen at that point. So we create lanes of traffic. We create traffic circles, right? Ways that cats are constantly moving while we have a structure in the middle of the room. We use the height of cat trees. And, by the way, stuff that you already have. Because I do not want anyone to think here that catification means you got to go out there and spend a boatload of money. You don't. I'm talking about connecting this chair to this chair. Good, already done. Now, how am I going to take this chair and connect it to this podium here? Well, maybe just a piece of wood. There you go, piece of wood. Goes from here to here. Now we can jump to the top of the bookcase and maybe over to the TV console and down again. That's a cat superhighway, and you just bought a piece of wood, right? That's it. As long as you don't get paralyzed by thinking about the amazing setups that we have in this book. I mean, not everyone can do that. I can't do that. I'm terrible at it, you know. I just do the piece of wood thing. But once we get them moving around each other, you will see relationships change immediately. But again, I'm totally wrapping up. But again, that's about, you know, going into the world of what I call the tree dwellers and the bush dwellers. I'm thinking about these guys in their natural habitat. They find their cat mojo, that confidence, in different spaces on the vertical axis. It could be up here, I am like Lion King. I'm up here, you know, surveying the savannah. This is my world. Or I could be the bush dweller down under the chair, like, you know, like this, getting ready, you know, to pounce on my prey. That's where I find my mojo, my hunter self, right? That is what again, just something I just want you guys to just look. And we give you a lot of tools in the book, so I can stop rattling things off, because I know that we're getting to a point where I will get you guys to ask some questions if you want to. About cats in general. That's the only thing in general. So the only caveat to question asking, if you've got any, is if it starts with the phrase, I have a cat who, don't ask me that question. That's the only question not to ask me. Just because if you know how I work, and that is that I come to your house, and first and foremost you feed me, and then we hang out, and I play with your cats, and we just do our thing, and I get to know what your environment is like. Otherwise, I can't help. So, in a general sense, I can definitely help. And you can ask me any question about, you know, the show, me, or cats, or dogs, or my fascination with donkeys and elephants. So, do we have a microphone for question askers? Where is it? Okay, go ahead. Microphone gets rushed. Okay. There we go. Okay, hi. What's your, oh my Lord.
That was scary.
Yeah, no, well, it woke everybody. So what's your name?
So my name is Koki. Hi.
What's your name?
Koki.
Koki.
Sounds like a dog, right? Or a cat?
Yes.
So my question is, do you find that cats are psychic?
Cats are psychic? Is that what you said?
Here's the behavior.
Yes.
Around.
No, thank you for asking that. That's a great question.
Something, but there's nothing there.
Totally.
Very different.
Yeah, looking at the corner, looking at the walls. That's a
Everywhere.
great question. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. No. And it's, but I think that the concept of cats being psychic sort of diminishes who they are. Again, let's go back to the raw cat. There is a lot of intangible qualities that keeps these cats alive for as long as they've been alive. And that's knowing what's coming. If everything in your body is honed to the point of saying, if something's going to pop out of that tree, I'm on top of it right now. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be on this plane, you know, on the earthly plane. I mean, whatever. We're getting into a weird place right now, but I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't differentiate much between planes. I have had the same experiences these cats have had because they've taken me through it. I mean, I've been guided by cats. I can't believe it just came out of my mouth. Crap, I'm dead now because somebody's taping this somewhere. Galaxy goes off the deep end. But it's true. I mean, if you follow them, they will show you things where it's absolutely amazing. And I won't even go there. But yes, they are. But it's not psychic. It's hyper aware. That's all it is. They're hyper aware. They see what we don't because we're not looking. You know, we're too busy talking.
They see things around that we don't see.
Yeah, clearly. Yes, because those things don't necessarily have to, they don't have to have physical form for them to see it. That's, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I would really like to find out how to get you to come to my house. I mean,
Yeah.
but what
Feed
can
me.
cause, what can cause aggressive?
Can you get closer to the mic? I can't even
What
hear
can
you.
cause aggressive behavior towards one family member and not the other?
Well, again, that you just skirted the thing. Hypothetically, no. Well, because it's your cat. Because that's the thing. No, but what I'm saying is there's somebody in your house that's causing it. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea in your house why that's happening. But usually, it's the opposite, right? And so it's not like I hate you, but I love you. You know what I mean? And the person who's getting all the love, there's that. See, this is where we get weird with the human relation. Are you the one who's loved or hated?
Yes.
You're the one who's loved. So you're looking at the one who, but here's what happens.
Expected. If I say no, she goes down like
Yeah, yeah, but here's the thing. The one who's hated, whoever the person is who's hated, that's you. What's your relationship? What? It's your daughter. Your mom actually secretly likes it. No, come on, I'm serious. No, but there's the thing. But wait, hold on. Here's the thing. There's a relationship between you and your cat that's special, right? You protect that specialness just a little bit. Why am I saying that? Because if that weren't the case, your daughter would have tools that she doesn't have because you have that special something with that cat. You know I'm right. Tell her what to do, and then you step away. You don't do it. Yeah, nope. I promise you this is what's going to happen. So you step away a week. You don't feed the cat. You don't play with the cat. If she sits on you, you stand up. You don't have to do anything. Ah, I got you. Yes, that's what it is. And you are Santa Claus. You are totally Santa Claus. Every time you walk in the room, something good happens. Every single time, right? But also, it's really important that before that week starts, that you really watch your mom. Be a journalist. Watch her body language, right? There's sometimes something very simple, like in the way we carry ourselves around the cats. Don't forget, when you think about it, it's actually really funny. If there's a room full of people, and there's 10 people, and 7 out of the 10 people say, all cats love me. Cats love me, right? And come here, kitty, 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 you know? The one who the cats go to, naturally, are the ones who either hate cats or are afraid of cats or are allergic to them. Those are the ones the cats are like, I pick you, you know? And that's because they get to explore that person on their own terms. So maybe your mom is doing something like that. So pick up her lessons, that's what you need to do, and then be Santa Claus, and you need to step away and share the wealth. Because if there's something that you have, because I firmly believe, this is not the face of the devil here. She's not doing anything. I know you're not doing anything, but you are. You're giving her something that you're not. So it becomes family counseling too. How you're doing it. See, but maybe that's how you're doing it. You're smothering a little bit. See, you guys just suckered me in. All right, we're done. We're done. Okay. Yes, ma'am. What can I do for? And what's your name?
Sage.
Sage. Good to meet you, Sage.
So what happens if two cats that grow up together?
But they're not your cats, of course.
Yes, they are.
What are you doing, guys? One rule.
Well, what are you expecting? We're all cows.
I'll have to give you a pass because that was really cute. So go ahead. What is it?
So what happens if two cats grow up together and one dies? How long will it take for the other cat to recover?
Well, and how old is the cat now?
4.
4. Okay.
The other one was 6.
And they were litter mates. Oh, they weren't litter mates. But they were family members, or they grew up together? Or
They grew up.
They grew up together. Yeah, I mean, that's a really specific question, and the only thing that I would say to you is, how long would it take you? You know, it's a very personal experience. Some cats will just keep moving, you know, because one of the things that I've found about cats, they encompass that Zen Buddhist quality of not being attached to the outcome of their love, right? They express love and they move. Others, because, for instance, in this relationship, possibly, that one was attached to the other because they found their security in that other, right? They found that was their blanket, or what I call the social bridge. If you do it, then I'll do it. So that's the one who died was the leader, kind of? Yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. So how long's it been?
It's been like 5 months.
Yeah. Just keep, you lead by example and keep moving through it. But also, one thing that you could do through play, right? When you play with your cats, and you've seen me do it, right? With the fishing poles and the be like a bird, right? Don't text and, right? Mom, the cat won't play. You be the bird, right? Run around. Get your cat to hunt, but hunt with you. And as soon as your cat engages, you're going to start seeing that light, because a cat learns how to be their own leader by doing that, by killing, right? But we're not going to let them do that. We're gonna play kill. But the more you play and allow your cat to start expressing their mojo, the faster they're going to start, because the only way that they're going to move through it is to know that they can be confident without someone else showing them how to be confident.
Because at one point, she was just running crazy around the house. The other point, she would just, wherever we go, she would go.
Yeah,
And
but this
then-
is how, you know, and fortunately, hopefully, you know, it'll be a long time before you have to experience this, but grieving is a very, very complicated, difficult thing. And you know, one of the things that I would leave you with is to know that cats, dogs, animals, they grieve just as deeply as we do, just as complexly as we do. It takes them sometimes years to get through it. It's just like we do, you know, it's amazing. We're wrapping. Let's go. Yes?
Does this work?
Yes.
First question, do you have a cat tattoo?
Do I have a cat tattoo?
Just wondering. You have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, I have and they're all cats.
Okay.
Yes, every one of
Second
them.
question, are cats smarter than dogs? No,
Now, listen up. That was just such a setup right there. Are cats smarter than dogs? I just spent the last however long. No, they're not. They're smarter in a different way. You know, like my brother, like can do algebra, and I get angry. That's us. That doesn't make me stupid. That just makes him not stupid. And
so he's like the cat.
my brother like could never, you know, be an actor or musician or whatever. So it's we all have different strengths. Yeah, dogs, cats, yeah, they're the same.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. Yes. What's your name?
Carolina.
Carolina? That's a beautiful name.
You talked about how they show their emotion through their tail. How do you know when they're happy?
That's great. Well, okay, so when a cat is happy, they're confident, right? Confidence means happiness to a cat, right? When they walk through a room and they're like, yeah, that plant right there, that's mine. That's happy. That's a happy cat. Now, of course, you know, when they're eating or cuddling or purring, but there's that obvious stuff, right? When your cat purrs, does your cat purr?
My dad has a cat.
You don't have a cat? Where's mom? TikTok. No, now it just happened. It just happened. Wendy! What do I got to do today to get you into this cat? Well, but when they purr, they do this thing, right? Ever seen a cat do this before, where they make biscuits on somebody, right? That's pretty incredible, because that is them flashing back to their infancy, like they are with Wendy right now, where they'll stimulate milks to come out of mom by doing this. So when they do this to you, they're basically calling you mom. Different ways to show they're happy. I know, I've got to bolt through. Thank you, Carolina.
Yes, can one generalize and say that cats bite out of either fear or pain?
Fear or pain. That's a good way of saying it. Anxiety, fear, pain. One of the things that people who are afraid of cats always miss. Think about why these animals have been so successful in the wild for as long as they have. Not because they pick fights. They know how to run away. They know how to not pick a fight, right? That's what makes cats so successful. They rarely make that kind of mistake where they go diving after somebody who could beat them up. They don't do it. They're about defensive maneuvers. They're about holding on to their territory or running. They are not about the conquest, you know what I mean? So if a cat bites you, either you scared them to death, or they're anxious about their territory, they feel like it's about to take it taken away from them, or like you said, they're in pain. I've seen behavior that on my show you'd go, oh my God, that cat's crazy. And that was caused because the cat had an abscess in their tooth. And all of a sudden they are running around beating people up. So yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate way of putting it. Hi.
Have you ever had that one connection with the cat where you just like knew what it was thinking and it knew what you were thinking and you just had that strong connection?
Yeah.
So beautiful. I don't
You know what the thing is? I mean, it happens for me every day, but not just with cats. I mean, I feel, you know, pretty plugged in with animals, but I think it's available to everybody. I think it's totally available. I think that and listen to me, I'm sitting here like I haven't even put a period on a sentence in a half hour, but like I was about to say, we spend a lot of time talking and not a lot of time listening, you know. And animals are always talking, always. We just got to listen, you know. But the connection that you feel, and I'm sure most people in this room have felt it with your cat, that at some point that you've had that incredible, like, I know what you're thinking, and you know what I'm thinking. But what I'm saying is I think it's available with us, with all animals. It's a pretty remarkable bond that we really haven't explored all that much. Yes?
How can you make two cats feel equally loved?
Make them feel what?
Equally loved.
Equally loved? You mean the cats?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, don't refer to one of them as your favorite. Do you do that? You do, don't you? It's okay. My wife does too, and I give her so much grief for it. This is Barry the cat. He's my favorite. Like, oh my God, they're, you know, they know. They know. If
Both of my cats, but just one of them, she's like older and more mature, and the other one is more like affectionate towards me. The older one, she's affectionate towards my mom.
that's okay. What's wrong with that?
It's just that I feel like sometimes she doesn't like me. And there's
Aw.
been these instances where she scratched me like really bad because I may have carried her the wrong way and she didn't like it, and I just.
But, okay, see? This is that slippery slope. Let's stop you right here. You were carrying this freaking microphone. You were carrying the cat, and you grabbed something the wrong way. She says, ouch, and she bites you. Do you see what happened? Where you went, boop, 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 my cat doesn't like me, right? Nothing to do with it. She just went, ouch, stop it. That's it. That was a moment. It's gone. It's gone. Honestly, you have one cat who loves to be with you maybe a little bit more, one that loves to be with your mom. If those cats aren't beating the crap out of each other every day to get to you or to get to your mom, if there is not pee and poop and hair and all that stuff going on in the house, your cats have it figured out. They're good. They're good. But the thing that I would really, again, the same thing I've been saying this whole time, step away from it. Just for a second, step away from the storyline that you've created, because I can almost guarantee you that your cats don't share that storyline. They're not attached to the outcome, right? They are just, you are a good thing in my life, and I like having you around, and that's about as, sort of militaristically devious as it gets. So, last question. What was that? Last one. It is the last one. What's your name?
Valeria.
What's your name?
Valeria.
Valeria? Wow. My cat's name is Valoria. Do you know what? You want to see her? Hold on. That's Valoria.
Oh, she's
She's 23 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She is like so much older than you. That's crazy, right? Okay. Right, sorry, Valeria. What's your question?
How do you know when you have too many cats or not?
That has to be the last question, right? Thank you, Valeria. The cats will tell you when you've got too many cats, right? There's always that one being, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a cat. It could be another human in the house. It's just all of a sudden you'll notice when you add that one extra being in the house, suddenly they're fighting. Suddenly somebody's peeing. Suddenly that peace in the valley is no longer. You got to listen to them. They'll tell you. But did you say not enough?
Well,
Because you're talking to the wrong guy. Yeah. Get another one.
No, I have 5.
Yeah.
Basically, and then they take care of 2 outside.
Yeah, good.
Well, we have a cadence.
We do the same thing. We have 5, and we have 5 that we take care of outside, and everyone's happy, and I've never thought of myself as a crazy cat lady, and you shouldn't either. Okay. So, guys, that's it for me. Thank you for coming down here. We'll go sign some books.
Thank you, everyone. The autographing area is right out the double doors to your right. She's going to take